Welcome to Tekken Tech Talk, where Silence and You're That Russian have a talk about tech. Russian will ask me a question and we will cover it. The idea is to kind of cover the topic a little bit in more depth than is commonly talked about. But yeah, so anyways, let's get into it. Russian, what is your question?
So my question for today is, how do you break down a turtle? What is a proper way to break down a turtle?
Right, so that is a great question. And you know, with all these questions, it is very layered and has a lot of complexity to it. So basically, generally when you're dealing with a turtle, you're dealing with someone that just backdashes a lot and creates a lot of space. And then when you get in, they use buttons to try and deter you from pressing buttons on getting in. They often will be sidestepping a lot too. And so trying to get in on someone that's highly defensive can be very difficult. So generally, it comes down to a couple of different things. There's the first step, which is you have to be able to get in close enough to be able to affect your, be able to exert pressure.
Yeah. So right here, right?
Right, and so we actually talked a lot about that in the previous Tekken Tech Talk. How to get in without buttons. So one of the things you're going to have to be very careful of when you're trying to get in someone that is turtling is that since they tend to backdash more, you have to be a lot more cognizant of your ranges. Because like if I'm doing something like this, like Russian can just backdash out of there eventually. And then as soon as it whiffs, then you can launch it. So like just being in someone's face pressing buttons and they're just backdashing, they will eventually get out. So you can't just be in their face pressing buttons. And also if you're just pressing buttons, they are opens up the opportunity for them to counter hit you with like a magic 4 or something, or to sidestep you. So oftentimes what you want to do is do more like a hit and run kind of tactics, where you get in, get a couple of hits in, and then go back to neutral and then start over. Because if you just keep trying to pressure them, there will be an opening, and if they're paying attention, they will be able to exploit that opening.
And since they're on the defense, they're watching you more than you are watching.
Yeah, they're watching really carefully. But the other thing to do is, since most stages have walls, you can try and get them cornered into a wall so they can't backdash as much. This obviously doesn't work if if it's a wall-less stage, but like if he's just backdashing and I'm pressuring, so now he's back to the wall. Now he can't backdash. Now he just kind of got to eat this pressure. And then, they can try to get out of the wall. So, try to push them back to the wall if the option is available. A lot of good players will be very aware of where the walls are in the stages and will try to not get pushed back to the wall. So some characters have moves that can push the other character on block, like Nina's down back 2, kind of pushes them to Nina's right. So if I'm trying to keep Russian in this corner, this move will just kind of keep him right there, and he can't really get out except first he can step into the the corner, So take a look for some moves that that do that. Like also Nina's forward 3 kind of pushes to the left a bit. Just a little bit, and then a few other moves. You have those. Pay attention to the moves your character might have that can do that, and always try to realign yourself to their movement to try and get out of the wall. So
Yeah.
like when he's here, I'm going to be stepping to keep his back to the wall. Now the thing about doing that is that also if you know which way they're going to be stepping, because like here Russian's going to be stepping to his left, Nina's right, because of where the wall positioning is. Nina's got like a lot of moves that will just track that direction. Like you can't step this quarter circle forward move that way. Well, I guess you can. But there's some moves that have like really good tracking properties to one direction or the other, and you can use those to try and keep people in place. They might be a better option than your homing moves. Like Nina's back 2-2 has limited range. Same with her down forward 1+2, it has limited range, and her down back 2 is very slow. So sometimes I might want to use a move that will track to that direction, because it has a few other options.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So then once you yeah, so any questions so far, Russian, on this topic, or on this aspect of this topic?
At what point should you start? No, I don't know. I'm trying to think. If I think about it, I'll come to it.
Okay. So I'm probably going to cover this next part. I'm going to cover probably what you were going to ask. Is that when do you know when to stop just mashing in their face, right? So this is actually where a lot of it will come down to, because this is where Tekken actually starts, I guess. Like you're actually really playing Tekken here. You got to be paying attention to what your opponent's doing and their habits. So, and also the characters. Like Dragunov doesn't have any fast counter hit moves, so like, I can lock him down with like jab down forward 1. Like pretty, and there's not a whole lot of risk to getting counter hit there, except for the 1-2-1. But I can also do stuff like that. But when you're doing stuff like this, they can also sidestep or backdash. If assuming their backs to the wall or whatever, we've gotten in. They can sidestep and punish you for that. So you have to be paying attention to how they're reacting to your pressure in all the various situations. So if they're stepping, you might need to use a homing move. If they're ducking, duck under your highs, you might need to use more mids. If they're never ducking, you can use plus frame lows or neutral frame lows. Try not to use like lows that are heavily minus on hit. I don't think Nina actually has any of those. Just so that way you can keep up the pressure. But if you're like -6 after a hit, like right there, that like Dragunov is -9 after his down 4.
Yeah.
So he kind of loses his turn there if he tries to use that. So like the generic down 4 would be a lot better option. Right. So yeah. So pay attention to how your opponent is reacting to what you're doing, and try to use moves that will deal with how they're reacting. Try to get a feel for when they want to challenge your pressure and have your counter hits locked and loaded. Because if I'm doing like this, and he's all of a sudden like 1-2-1s me after the jab, You know, so I can jab and then magic forward. You know, a simple solution there.
What was that in the background?
That was
Oh,
me
you
sneezing.
sneezed.
Right. And then also, never underestimate the power of things like throws. Because throws, even though they're breakable, they add something to the opponent. They add something else that the opponent has to think about. And if they're thinking about a bunch of different things, they're more likely to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So there's no hard rule on when you should stop pressuring, or how you should be pressuring. That really depends on you know, how you like to play, how your opponent likes to play, how much each player is paying attention, the current situation. Because you know, if you constantly hit them with like jabs, like they're getting hit by jabs, you know, you're +8. If they're getting hit by jabs,
Yeah.
you know, so that means you if you're +8, that means you can continue pressure. But as soon as they block one, then you might need to consider doing something else, because they can step the second jab, or duck it, or you know, they've got a lot more options when they're -1 instead of -8.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then this comes up to the last point really in this, is to vary your timing. Because if you're just, you know, sitting here mashing, you know, as fast as possible, it becomes a lot easier for them to deal with your pressure. But if you're like, you know, like varying your timing up, your hit line, or your hit levels, and you know, doing a bunch of different things, that's giving them a lot more to think about. And try not to like do the same situation every time. Like if you don't do like down forward 1 into down 2. You know, don't do the same thing every time. Change it up, because you want to make sure that they're not sure what you're going to be doing next. Breaking down a turtle can be really frustrating, especially for some characters. Like some characters just don't have good tools to break down a turtle. You know, like Kunimitsu and Lydia. They don't really have strong lows outside of stances or back turned or full crouch. And so for them, it's a lot riskier to go for stronger lows, because you've got to set them up. But you know, you've got to use the tools that you've got, and break them down. And then like Kunimitsu and Lydia also don't have a lot of strong throw game. Like Kunimitsu's only, I think only non 1+2 command break throw is from her set stance. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either 2 or 1+2, basically. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of in a nutshell how you break down a turtle. Any final questions?
I hear sometimes that it's a good idea to dash up and sidestep.
Yes, sometimes. Because that's useful for dealing with their keep out. Because it can be really hard to time the sidestep to get around their keep out. But we did cover that a little bit in the previous tech talk as well.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, thank you all for attending this Tekken Tech Talk. I am Silence. You may find me at the_silence on Twitter, and we've got over there, we've got Russian. You can find him at You're That Russian on Twitter. Any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to say?
Nope, not at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you for attending this Tekken Tech Talk.
All right.